Welcome to a game between PaulBellow, starting Amphibs, and MrPacmanXD. Looks here like PaulBellow is starting with Amphbots. And he's starting with some economic start, making a conch, and then some raiders. This is a map that's pretty economic in a sense. PaulBellow requested this replay and he wondered how to finish off his opponent. So there's a lot of terrain to cover and it's kinda easy to defend. Like the start position has a lot of mexes and it's kinda easy to defend. So you usually wanna go be pretty economic on this game and try to eco as much as you can and grow your economy. And wind is also really good, like PaulBellow just made a few solars just for stable income, but even here, down here, it's each wind generator makes 0.7 at the minimum, so they're really good. And up here they make a minimum of 1 energy per second. That's very good. That's always they're always gonna be as good as a solar up here, but usually produce a lot more than solars. So one wind generator is worth one solar collector is worth 2 wind generators. Here comes the first duck. Oh, and it misses. That's unlucky for this, but it hides in the trees. Nice trees there. Will it hit? It dies. Unlucky dodge there by the duck. Yeah, like ducks are kind of annoying in that sense. Like if the enemy is running towards them, they can miss a target. Like the projectile goes in an arc. Like generally, ducks beat glaives pretty handily. Yeah. And yeah, here comes some raiding. PaulBellow should be able to see this on radar. He only has 1 duck here, but he also has the commander behind, so that's fine, I guess. And he gets 1 glaive and one other glaive. He also made a picket here, not the best position, like the mountain is in the way, so it's only gonna defend this area here. So placing it here would be a better position, then it will cover more area. Yeah, and knowing that the enemy has gone for Cloaky Boss, you know that they can't attack from this hill. Like they can't jump up with pyros or go up with fleas or anything there. So that makes defending even easier. And he's gonna be pretty defensive here, like making a Stardust. That's gonna be playing it very safely. I guess you can do that if you wanna be really safe. A bit excessive, like making a few Lotus Stars down here is generally better. Here we have an engagement, and yeah, looks like the ducks missed a bit again. But yeah, after this you should just keep expanding with the commander and keep growing your economy. And he's making solars up here. That's a pretty big mistake. Yeah, like winds are just so much better up here. Yeah. This is the prime place too. This is like the highest place on the map. This is where you most want to place winds. And at this point, yeah, he's trying to harass and put some pressure on the map, and while also expanding here. That's good. This is an idle con. It could be here and expanding. And in general, I'd recommend putting, he has his expanding commander on high priority. That's good. He runs into this commander, loses 3 ducks. Not too good. Like, yeah, you need like 10 ducks. It depends on the situation. 5 is not enough to kill a commander. And then the glaives get rest. He only gets 1 glaive there, so not a good deal for PaulBellow. Not a huge lot either, but yeah. And here comes 4 ducks against 6 glaives, and the ducks miss. Why did they miss their first shot? They tend to hit their second shot, but not their first shot. That's weird. Yeah, but now they are hitting it. Yeah, so if you could just push in here, there's 2 mexes here that he could potentially kill. And that's gonna basically put him at how's the economic parity here? Like, yeah, he's a bit ahead, so getting these maxes would be good for him. Instead, he's gonna try to run up this hill against two Ronins. Against Ronins, okay, can work. But here comes the reverse, so yeah. He might miss the opportunity to get this maxes before the Stardust is going up. But otherwise, he's doing pretty fine economically. Like, he is expanding. He has all his conscious on high priority. That's nice. That means his metal production is gonna be, like his metal extractor production is gonna be at high priority. That's good. So yeah, looks like PaulBellow is going for a pretty defensive playstyle here. Like the Stardust, it works decently against Ronins. It works decently against Reavers. It works well against Glaives. So yeah, it's not really anything wrong with this. Although this Newton might get finished before it can get up. That's a little bit unlucky. But the Scallop will prevent further glaive raiding. So yeah, you're contesting this area and you're forcing the enemy to make defenses here. That's good. While you're also getting this area, and you're gonna play it really safe by building two Stardust stones here. So this position is not gonna fall anytime soon. All our Ronins kinda outrange them. Let's see how this goes. MrPacman is just running into, loses all his glaives probably. Oh, he saves two. So yeah, Ronins are a little bit troublesome for Ampbots, like they kinda kite most of the units, and ducks are a bit slow, and archers are kinda slow as well. He loses his archer here, that's kinda not too good. You should be careful with your commander, like Ronins, you have to be careful against them. You can kinda, if you do a lot of manual micro, you can dodge most of the shots, and you can see here the drones distracting the Ronins. But this is, you need to retreat basically behind the Stardust, so yeah. Then the Stardust can protect the commander pretty well, and you're gonna save the commander on low health, that's good. Yeah. And yeah, this is a good position where the Stardust getting some extra range from the elevation, with some extra from the hill that he made, like the, yeah. This is hard to take out for Ampbots, even using boys, they might not have enough range to hit it without getting hit themselves. I'm a bit Scallops, they're slow, and they don't do much in this position, like they're gonna be very slow. Like Warriors trade, these Reavers trade decently against these Scallops, so I would recommend transitioning into something else. And yeah. So yeah, you then want to have some boys. They're pretty good against commanders, and like especially like Reavers. Boys are really good against Reavers. So what's your unit composition? You're making some of everything. Like this position tends to get porky. Like you're making a lot of defenses, and that makes it pretty hard to like fight. What is this boy doing? He's gonna hit that Reaver, and it's gonna be slowed down. But a few ducks go down first. Like a boy should easily beat a Reaver if he just can get the shot off. And you're gonna face his commander, getting the Stardust before he goes up. Yeah, that could be good, but you don't quite manage to get it. And now this boy is lonely, that could be dangerous. Let's see if it hits this glaive enough. And he also loses this Scallop. So yeah, I don't think your trades have been that good so far, even though you have been ahead in economy. So yeah, well, it's pretty even still. Yeah, uphill fighting Reavers, that's not a good idea. Yeah. And yeah, these glaives, they don't really They don't have much targets here. Since the Stardust are protecting pretty well here. And here comes the Ronins. They're kind of trading decently against the Stardust. Like, you want some units to distract in front of this to make full use of this Stardust. You can see the units going in and saving these Stardust against the Ronins. It looks like you're morphing your commander. I'm not really sure why. You have quite a bit of defense here. Yeah. Like, if you want to be really safe against stingers, like supporting this position with a few archers is a good idea. And like a few boys that against the Ronins with some support from a Stardust or other units that can hit raiders, that's a pretty good combo. But you're also sending forward units like piecemeal and losing them without doing too much damage in return. You should be a little bit more careful how you use your units, in my opinion. Like, try to keep the boys alive and try to keep the rise behind them ready to kill incoming raiders. And in small numbers, boys kind of struggle to hit Ronins, so that's something to consider as well. And you're just gonna make ogres, and that's a decent choice. They're a little bit short range against Ronin, but otherwise they do fine against Cloakybot units, really. And you're gonna get these knights. This Stardust, yeah, you're gonna get the Stardust as well, I think. Might lose one ogre as well. Yeah. And your economy upgrades, they're not really doing anything at this point. Like, you haven't really... You have put like 2,500 into this commander, and yeah, you have some of everything. And it is a pretty strong commander, a close range commander. You could have it up here and preventing like the enemy from getting this position. The Stardust was just like build. You do want to avoid him from getting that. And then you can maybe push up with the drones here, so yeah. You're not really using the commander upgrades for anything right now. And you're pushing up against the Stardust, and you're losing quite a few tank units. Yeah. You're trading kinda evenly. But you're pushing the enemy back, that's good. And here comes some sights. I don't think they're gonna get much done with these commander drones. Yeah, the ogre just could finish. It doesn't even die. So yeah, that goes away from MrPacman. But still, you're losing your units piecemeal here. Like, your force is a bit too small. Like, in general, you kind of want to repair ogres and blitzes. Like, they're not likely to make cost unless you repair them. So yeah. Especially against this many Ronins, you can't really use just lone ogres. Also, knights are a pretty fearful units for tanks. But you're still letting me get this position for basically no contest. And finally the drones start to do work. You can see how they're annoying these drones and making the ogres able to close the distance and deal out some damage. So yeah, drones can be pretty good against cloaky bots in that sense. Meanwhile, you're trying to raid a command with boys, and that's a pretty good choice. This commander has gone for a cluster bomb and a heavy machine gun, so it can finish off a few boys. But if it gets too slow, this is an easy kill if you have some like follow-up units. 3 is a bit too small though. Still annoying for the commander though. Boys are actually pretty good against commanders. If you can get the slowdown, the commander is gonna not deal a lot of damage. You're gonna deal a lot of damage while the commander is slow. Yeah, like if you're lucky here, you might even get the boy. The commander could potentially jump away, but yeah, once it gets slow, it's not really that good. It needs to like hide behind other units. And you're doing decent trades, I'd say here. Like, yeah. A recommendation I would make is also if you want to scout the enemy, is you can morph a radar. Do you have any radars? You only have radar on your commander, no radar here. Like you can morph a radar into a sparrow, and then you can fly over it with enemy and scout them. So that's a pretty cheap way, like pretty cheap way to scout the enemy. And you're gonna start draining the enemy like grid here, that's pretty good. So you have to be a bit careful against the Stardust though, but you get it. That's good. And here comes this unspotted Harpies, and they're gonna... Harpies are decent if you have a good number of them. If you can overwhelm the enemy and slow them down. And ogres are pretty decent against Harpies. But Harpies are otherwise pretty good against tanks. But it looks like he's just gonna waste all his Harpies. That's a very, very bad trade for MrPacman. You have to be real careful how you use them. And he's gonna try to go for the factory again. So much waste just trying to get his factory. When he could just rebuild it for 800. Even if he got it with his force, it would have been such a waste. But at least the Harpies clean up your force over here. Yeah, at this point I'd expect you to be a bit ahead, like you're keeping your economy intact. Although you do have these these mechs that you could take, and this mech is also not built on. That's quite a bit of metal loss. And yeah, this is not the right unit to deal with Harpies. What is your response? I mean, archers and ducks do decently, scallops do decently. Yeah, but some AA can be nice to have some extra range. Harpies don't really do too well against like Stardust and Stinger as well. So yeah, at this point you're a bit ahead. You have made some pretty good trades lately. And yeah, well, it's mostly Pac-Man and losing his Harpies to your forces. And he's gonna try to do like a run-by, but you're making AA now. So if you just react here and put them like here, you're gonna do fine against his Harpies. Meanwhile, you're advancing here, that's pretty good. But there's also snipers now. And snipers are gonna two-shot these ogres. And you're a bit slow to react, I think. Yeah, your AA was a little bit slow. But you're only gonna lose a few wins, you can easily rebuild that. Like, worse would be losing this build power, because then you're losing... Well, I guess you still have this space to produce from. So not a big deal either. Yeah. Huh, you're losing quite a bit of AA. I think... I'm not sure if these can uncloak snipers. I think they might just fly. They can just barely uncloak these snipers. But really, yeah, you can't. This is 5 snipers. Maybe you don't know that, but yeah, they can do that to brawlers. So yeah, they 2-shot brawlers as well. So yeah, you really need some spam here, and blitzes are not that good as spam either. They're one-shotted, 300, 200, 300 cost units that are one-shotted. Yeah, so even before you get one sniper, you're gonna have to like lose 5 blitzes. So yeah, Kodachis are much better, but even better are ducks, because they only cost 80 if you want to decloak them. And you're trying to harass this position again, but you lose a few units. Also something that your opponents done, they have gridded a bit more. So if we check the metal overdrive, you have been ahead because you have more energy production, so that's better, I guess. And the enemy hasn't even built wind, so that's a mistake for your enemy. But yeah, now you need to consider how to deal with these snipers, and you have been just losing your Panthers and Blitzes and Kodachis piecemeal, so yeah. The snipers has probably almost paid off at this point. But there's a lot, like spamming ducks against it would be good, or maybe even trying to make Gnuts or Blastwings to reveal them, or even Banshees if you can, like Banshees and in combination with other units can help you around them and find them out, like a Blastwing can fly forwards really fast and uncloak them. And again, you're trying to go against with too few units. These are basically gonna get killed in one volley. Oh, you get lucky though and get one Phantom. That was just kind of luck. Like, these snipers are on fire to radar dots, which means they're gonna waste their shots against radar dots. Although I guess it doesn't really have radar here, so they're not gonna waste their shots against radar dots mostly, I guess. But yeah, you're gonna go for fleas, and that's a hard counter to snipers basically. Unless there are enough Reavers to like counter them. So yeah, you're gonna go for an even harder counter against snipers than Kodachis or ducks. Which works decently, since you're ahead, that's a good choice, like you can make that. Make another factory, that's fine. Although after losing so many units to the snipers here, you are actually a bit behind now. Yeah, like look at the trade here. The enemy is trading decently with you. And again, you are attacking with the really small warriors against the commander and the Stardust. And that's costing you quite a bit. So yeah, you should be like I guess it's a pretty hard skill to like know when you should push with a small force, or when you should like try to consolidate and go back and gather up a bigger force. And again, this is not a big enough force to attack this many snipers meet. I guess it's hard to know how many snipers the enemy get, but yeah, like these are how many? Like at this point, yeah, you're closing in, but you're only like you're not even reaching the snipers. And there are some glaives and reavers to deal with the fleas. You really just wanna save up some more fleas for this. Maybe like instead of attacking with like 20 fleas, save up to like 50 fleas, and then launch in big attacks and spread out more. And again, you're almost getting this commander, but it's a small force, so yeah. So you're still losing your units piecemeal here against this commander here. So yeah, now you're just losing units piecemeal here against this force. That's really bad. Like you're never gonna get enough fleas if you treat them this way. Like there's a lot of room to maneuver around these reavers. You don't need to like run straight into them. You can go like this or this. Preferably you should even have like 2 groups. You can have them in different control groups. So you can have one group pushing here, and then one group pushing here, and then just sending them in against this position all at once, where you expect enemy snipers to be. And yeah, you're pushing back the commander at least a bit, so that's pretty good. But you're forced to rely on your defense, and luckily for you, Mr. Pacman isn't pushing out with his sniper. Otherwise, your commander would be in a big risk here. But I guess this distracts him more enough for you to like push up here. Distracts him from pushing out with his snipers. But you start making hermits? You need fleas? Why did you start making hermits? Not really a big point here. And you're finally uncloaking the snipers. Will you finally get a sniper? Yeah, you get a sniper. And the drones help as well. So yeah, drones can work in defense. But still, you're not saving up enough fleas. You should, yeah. You kill. You, with the help of your drones and fleas, you still kill like 4 snipers. So that's a big swing. 5 snipers even. Yeah, that's a pretty big swing. And you also killed this expansion, so I guess you're ahead again. Not quite, actually. Is it the overdrive that's keeping your enemy ahead of you? Yeah, like connecting with wind would be really good up here. Like connecting all these back mexes with wind would be really good. This is an economic map, and wind is really good. That makes overdrive even better than on most maps, really. So yeah. And you're still sending in your force piecemeal, like you're not saving up any fleas. I guess, like, if the snipers would hit the fleas more often, they could even, like, kill this stream of fleas. They're not doing much. I guess the snipers do miss a bit, so fleas are still keeping the snipers back, kinda. But if Mr. Pacman had better management and micro, he could just keep his reaver up here and just keep his snipers next to the reavers, and he couldn't do anything against it with these few fleas. Like, you're lucky that Mr. Pacman isn't using his sniper force unless killing the stinger and killing your commander and killing your everything here. A better player would be killing you right now with his snipers. And if you had more, like, instead of killing hermits, you should save up like 50 fleas and then like launch in a line or spread out a lot and then attack the snipers from like all directions. Yeah. Yeah, and here it looks like the glaives are almost managing to overrun your force. And some harpies and snipers help to finish this force off. It's kind of a small force. So again, you're losing your force piecemeal. You're not building up enough. Do you have a plan? Like, if you look at the value killed here, yeah, your enemy is starting to pull ahead here. Also in metal per use, yeah, the enemy has actually been ahead in metal per use for a long time now. Like, if we look at the overdrive, yeah, you still have more overdrive. I guess it has been these mexes here, like you haven't really had these mexes here. And not these metal extractors as well, and this you missed this metal extractor as well. That's a pretty big deal as well. So again, you're kind of sending in a force and just losing it to the commander. So this commander has paid off. Yeah. That's kind of funny. Oh, you're losing your army piecemeal again. Like, this army would probably be enough to deal with the commander alone, but then the harpies come along, so yeah. It's kind of interesting that oh, I guess you have 2 fusion reactors as well. So yeah. But even though, yeah, PaulBellow doesn't, he maybe has finally some energy income. He hasn't had a lot of income, so he also hasn't had a lot of metal override. This is a big reclaim field, but now you're making just a lot of recluses, like, yeah, 7 recluses every now and then is not much. Oh, and look how the snipers miss their first shots when the enemy is just in radar. But as soon as it comes in line of sight, it's gonna die. And these recluses are also gonna die really quickly. But yeah, as long as it's spotted, the snipers are basically gonna get it. Yeah. So I'm not sure what your idea with the recluses are. You're not making enough fleas to protect them. Yeah. At this point you're building like 2 big projects. A Cyclops, that's a big project, 2,200, and the Dante is also a big project with costing 3,500. So yeah, that means you're gonna be like, this could have been the Dante, in this valley could have been going into the Dante instead. Also, I'm not really sure why you would make Dante in this position. It does decently against knights and reavers, but yeah, against snipers it's gonna tank a bit, but not much. Like, you need a lot more to kill these snipers. So yeah, making recluses is a mistake in this position, and you stop making recluses. At least you're reclaiming a bit of the middle, that's good. Like, at this point there's 12,000 metal on this map, and yeah, 6,000 or 5,000 is in it, is here. This is a lot of drones. Oh, and you were really bunched up to this cluster bomb, but this army is a bit too clustered up against both the machine gun with AOA and the cluster bomb with AOA. So yeah, commander could jump away just, but yeah, the Stinger is also gonna help. So the commander is just, yeah, it's just basically gonna make it again with the help of the Stinger. Otherwise it might have died, but yeah, there's also harpies there. So yet again you lose a pretty big army against killing basically nothing. And now your Cyclops and Dante is ready. Like using the manual fire, the special weapon, the napalm salvo, it's pretty good against snipers. Like, you can fire it here, and some of the missiles will like overshoot and hit the snipers. And how many? You have some fleas set up, like 20, that's something, but not really much. Also, now that the enemy has spotted all the units, the sniper's gonna be really accurate. And the Cyclops goes down. Like, you get a decent salvo of rockets into these knights. And look at these snipers burning as well. And you're trying to do what I said earlier, to surround the enemy with these fleas and go from different directions. That's pretty good. And, ouch, yeah, you were a bit too far ahead with Dante there, but you got a good salvo. You're killing snipers. Look, in that salvo, you killed 3, like, with the help of the other one, you killed like 3 snipers, so yeah, you just gotta try to stay away more to not get in range of these snipers with the Dante. It's something to expect, like, you gotta expect the range. It's like, what is it, 700 range? Yeah. So, yeah. And you lose your commander there to everything. Game over, basically. But basically, you can expect, like, this is the range of a Stinger, and the sniper just has a little more range than a Stinger. So that is where you would expect the snipers to be. Like, if they're killing your Stinger here, you would expect them to be just outside the range of the Stinger. And that's a skill you can exercise, so you, like, know where the enemy has their snipers. And expect where you should, like, sweep with fleas and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see here, you were doing well with the overdrive, decently, but you could have done much better just building wins along the back of the line here. But you were still a bit behind in metal most of the game, because you had some mexes that you forgot, like, and the mexes you gave to your enemy, like here. You shouldn't have let the enemy to grab these mexes. And sinking this metal into commander that early, it took a long time to pay off. Like, just trying to push with it would probably have been better. Like, the enemy didn't really have anything to contest with your commander at that point once you upgraded it. And even when the first snipers start coming out, drones are gonna help a lot. Like, they're gonna go against the enemy and go around, maybe uncloak the enemy. And if one of the bigger drones get a slow beam on a sniper, yeah, you're gonna see it, and you maybe even kill it with the drones or some ducks that you're sending to support. And also, like, yeah, you did pretty decently with your first army, especially when you got up here, raiding up here with your army. But then you were kind of losing your army piecemeal here, and you were not making enough fleas to overrun the phantoms. So yeah, that's something you can practice on. Like, you were just sending fleas and distracting the sniper, which in some situations can be worth it. But before that, you had wasted a lot of. You weren't able to build up an army behind that. So yeah, just make more fleas. Like, in this, when the enemy has this many fleas, like, imagine having 50 fleas and just swarming from all the angles and try to go in where the glaives and reavers are not. Yeah. Cyclops against snipers, that's not good. Dante is really good if you, like, try to avoid taking too much damage and using Rocco salvos, where you expect the enemy snipers to be, or even their main army. Like, even against knights and glaives, they're pretty good. Against knights, Dante salvos are still okay. You're gonna drain them eventually, but you generally want to try to hit the. You want to, like, fire at the edge and try to hit the snipers beyond with his salvo. Dante is a good choice against Cloakbot in general, really. Yeah. Yeah, so remember to take all your mexes and try to take even more mexes. Remember to expand your economy on this map, like Overdrive. And remember to try and not lose your army piecemeal, like you did to this commander and the few defenses here all the time. Those would be my major feedback to you. You were still pretty even in all overall until, like, the last minutes of the game. GG.